Hey everybody, thanks for coming in. I just wanted to, it took me a couple of days. I decided whether or not I was going to make a comment about the mass shooting in Buffalo. I feel like somebody needs to say something because we're sitting ducks right here in New Jersey on the borderline of Pennsylvania and New York, and I don't know what's going to happen. So, anyway, I want to just share my thoughts, but before I do, I'm going to share my message with my sincerest condolences to the families of those who were lost in the mass shooting in Buffalo, New York. Um, it's horrible. I know it's often said, and I do believe that everything happens for a reason, but I can't even imagine. And I just hope that my prayer to the families is that their loving memories will comfort them, as they grieve the loss of their dearly departed who were murdered, straight murdered. These calculated, planned mass shootings, they have to stop. So rest in power to Roberta A. Jury, Marcus D. Morrison, Andre McNeil, Aaron Slater, Geraldine Talley, Celestine Cheney, Hayward Patterson, Catherine Massey, Pearl Young, and Ruth Whitfield. Rest in power. Now, I do have a couple of things that I do want to say. If you can imagine, the first thing that came to my mind when I saw this, and I saw that, one of the gentlemen who lost his life, he did make an attempt because he was only one person who was armed there, the security officer who lost his life. But could you imagine if there was more than one person who had a firearm? This scenario would have played out a lot different if more than one person, had the ability to exercise their right to bear arms, right? Like, are you kidding? It would have been a whole different scenario. And that's what I wanted to just say. Like, the governor of New York, she's complaining about the magazine. But listen, this 18-year-old, he legally acquired his firearm. And I don't disagree that, I mean, he legally got his weapon, right? Okay. But there's a problem. He had a problem, obviously had a problem with black people, right? He cased the joint. He was intentional when he went to get his magazine. And he had a magazine that's not allowed in New Jersey. And I get it, here in New Jersey, the laws are different, quite restrictive. Nevertheless, when someone has an intent, they're going to carry out their plan. Now, his firearm was legal, but the ammunition and the power that he had behind it was not. How do you manage that? So yeah, there's interstate laws. Maybe you guys at the government level can talk to one another and say, hey, if Joe Schmo from New York comes and he wants to get ammo, right? And the ammo's not legal in New Jersey or New York, then don't sell it to them, right? At the end of the day. Period, point blank. It is what it is. So anyway, we have some laws in New Jersey that I feel like are kind of restrictive. And I also believe in my whole heart that, we should have the right to carry a firearm. Why not? Right? We should be able to protect ourselves because God forbid the dude from New York in the subway just lost his mind, right? Went on a rampage. And then this young man, whoever he was, intended to do this in Buffalo because he was there. The news is telling us that he went in March and he cased it and he had like a drawing of the store. So he kind of like was familiar with the layout, right? Who does that? That's a problem. The problem also is that people know in spaces where firearms can't be carried, by regular citizens to protect themselves. that you can now go and you can case the place and you can go and you can say, you know what, I'm going to come back in a week or whenever I get ready because I know I'm going to be the only somebody with a firearm because they can't carry a gun. That's the problem. If more good guys have firearms, the bad guys would think twice. That's my opinion, and I know I'm not the only person here that has that opinion. So I want to just say to you all in New Jersey, when the lawmakers are preventing you from protecting yourself with the laws that they're making, you would consider voting them out of office. Okay? King Murphy here in New Jersey is talking about this new packet. He introduced this packet in 2021 amid COVID, right? So you're worrying about restricting legal firearms owners. Now, don't get me wrong, some of the components of this bill package, A5030, I agree with. Like, I do agree with having training classes, right? Before you go and you have that firearm permit. I agree with that. You know why? Because the average person is not going to be conscious enough to say, okay, let me get trained, right? Let me go ahead and get the training that I need, the necessary training, so that I am confident and comfortable in the safety of the use of the firearm, safety of the storing of the firearm, right? But this, these guys, they want to mandate how you keep your firearm in your home. Are you kidding? So A5030 is saying that you either have to have it in a safe or you have to have it in some kind of a lockbox. Okay, so imagine somebody busts in to your place and you have to go and scramble to unlock the safe, right, and get it out. Whatever. Like, I just feel like let me store my firearm the way I think is most efficient for me to protect my domicile. Because at the end of the day, in New Jersey, that's all I can protect is inside my house. And once someone is in there, I don't want them coming to get me while I scramble because New Jersey King said that I had to have it in the gun safe. Anyway, also, they want to establish some kind of a record keeping system for your ammunition. Really? What is that going to prove? Now, my example earlier was if someone, the young man who got the Pennsylvania magazine that had the extra ammunition and the high power, right? I can understand that in Pennsylvania, the sharing of information or the denial of, selling it to someone. But in New Jersey, folks, we already are super restrictive. Stop clocking my ammo. And then they want to keep a registry of the guns as well. Listen, I paid for my permit, I paid for my firearm, I paid my taxes, and my weapon is registered. That should be enough, right? Should be enough. Then New Jersey, the king and his cronies, they want to ban any firearm that's 50 caliber or higher. I'm not sure I understand why, but like, again, you don't want an assault rifle in the street. However, for sport and for whatever else we're going to do, like when you go out and you're not going to hunt with an assault rifle, don't get me wrong, but listen, let me have my toy. Not me per se, but you know what I mean. You guys get it. Anyway, so these people on the left, and I sound probably like one of those people on the TV news, but because the left is where I put the information. So, but then on the right side of the screen, you're going to see the other folks who are in Trenton working on your behalf. So when I say to you, don't worry about voting for your party or a party or the party, I'm going to give you a prime example. There was just an election and in several cities here in New Jersey. So Orange, Newark, I believe Hillside. These are nonpartisan elections. They vote in May. Guess what? They're not jumping up and down and jumping out the window, vote for this party, that party, or the other party. They are hyper focused on the candidate. What is that person going to do, or what is that person didn't do? And that's how people are voting in the nonpartisan elections. I'm going to encourage you all to get the parties out of your brain when it comes to voting for the state, okay? Because vote your interest. So there are elected officials in New Jersey who want to eliminate the prohibition that currently exists, and I agree 100%, where you can only purchase one handgun in a 30-day period. So what's the difference? You can purchase 4 long guns. I can purchase a shotgun and a rifle. I can purchase the AR all in the same day, but you're gonna make me wait 30 days for a handgun? Just don't understand the logic with that. So then there's another law proposed, A132, which is going to revise the procedures for getting a permit to carry. Listen, New Jersey is a mess. Years ago, like, you would be able to petition to get a carry permit. Like, if you had a cash business, beauty salons or laundromats. I'm just, grasping at straws here. But you had a cash business and you were high risk, right? So you would petition. You may or may not get, the ability to carry a gun. You also could get a carry permit if it was part of your job, if you're a security officer or CO and police, those kind of occupations. Now, New Jersey has you jumping up and down, flipping through hoops, and going to judges and asking a judge, are you kidding? No. It's ridiculous. Anyway, lastly, this is another proposal, which is to allow for houses of worship to designate one individual to have a firearm during worship services. It's sad but true, and unfortunately, it's necessary in the world that we live in today. But here's my thought. If more good guys had the ability to carry their firearms open, and here I am, see me, not a secret, right? Less bad guys will be running around here targeting folks, because you don't know who has what, right? You might not see that person. They might have a baby 380, right? Which is still highly effective. So I'm just saying, like, we need to really think about when we are voting for these elected officials, we have to vote for our interests. And so some of the proposals that you see here on the left hand of the screen versus the ones you see on the right hand of the screen, this is what you should really be thinking about before you run out and you jump up and down and vote for your party person. Anyway, because you have the right to protect yourself. I believe that wholeheartedly. And you should be asking yourself before you go and vote, why do New Jersey lawmakers want to punish lawful firearm owners? Just doesn't make sense. Does not make sense. Can't understand it. And firearms are not the problem, people. It's the folks coming from down south, essentially, from wherever, and then they're hawking illegal firearms to folks who can't get them legally. That's the problem. Also, I'm not throwing any dirt on anybody else, but if you suspect, law enforcement really has to do their due diligence also. Like, are you kidding? Don't tell me that, people aren't giving you tips, right? You see Pookie and them out here on the corner, on the street. You hear the rumors, you get it, investigate it, control it, stop it. Stop trying to crack down on folks who are following the stringent rules in the first place. Anyway, so guns don't kill people. People kill people with guns. And that's what happens. But I don't want us to punish the lawful people with the firearms. We got to really think about that. And I'm encouraging you, your cousin, your brother, your sister, your mother, your wife, your uncle. If you are eligible in the state of New Jersey, you need to be clicking on the link right here, njportal.com/NJSP for the state police firearms registration system. Whatever the code is, click it. Go ahead and get yourself an application. It costs you $20. You can get a long gun all day, every day. If you wanted to get a handgun, it's $2 for the permit. You can get up to 4 permits at one time. But right now, you can only buy one gun in a month. So watch this. I got 3 permits, and they expire in 90 days. 90 days. So that means I got to buy a gun a month as opposed to me getting 2. And then if I wanted to wait another 2 months and get the other one, right? Because, you just got to think about budget constraints too. Like, I'm not trying to be funny, but I am trying to be funny. But, all right, So that's something that should be looked at and changed with the proposed laws by the legislators who get it, for goodness sake. Anyway, if you want to learn more, we have a class that's full. However, we have like little workshops and little webinars that we can get to you so that you can get the ins and outs of the New Jersey laws and how you can navigate them, get yourself and your family armed to protect your household. You can also, get arms for hunting and sports, which is, awesome. I'm proud of my progress at the range. And if you want to learn how to be safe with your firearm, we can probably set you up with a class. I was trained. Shouts to Mr. Cedric. You'll be proud of me and my progress. So, and that's until I get trained, because I plan on doing training so that we all have a better understanding of how to be safe with firearms. So, check it out. If you want to get information about the webinar, feel free to send an email to Real Talks for Real Life at Rashana.com. Get your guns. They got guns. Be safe. Stay tuned.